It's kind of crazy to think that we did it in such a short amount of time. Most people, do this for 5, 10 years of their life and eventually they get their pro card. But yeah, I only started in 2024. That was the first time I did my first show. So I did 2 shows in 2024, took 2025 off, and then 2026 we did 3 shows total. So 5 shows total in my career of bodybuilding so far. I was just a 120-pound kid, and I was very skinny. I was very, very skinny. I grew up in a single family home. My mom raised me. My parents divorced at an early age. I was born and raised in Hawaii, so my mom and I moved up here maybe when I was about 10 years old or so. She worked very hard. She worked a job. Basically couldn't, afford certain things, but yeah, we lived in the area where all the rich kids were. So I got to kind of see how other kids were brought up and what they had. And obviously you come from, not as having as much as them, you're always wanting to have what they have. There's definitely different levels to, life and maybe even like the quality of life. The cars that you see, the cars that the kids drove, and I don't think I even started driving maybe until I was 18, but yeah, just simple things like that, right? It's like, oh, this person's driving, a Range Rover, and it's like, well, you're over here driving like a Toyota Corolla. Like, it's night and day, right? I never had any sports background. I think that's like one thing I definitely can say is I was never really athletic. I didn't really have a sports background. I never played sports. I don't even think I really could afford to even play sports. Just mentally just wasn't there. My mom wasn't really, available to even like drop me off and do all these things, to take me to all these activities if you wanted to participate in them. So I was more into like skateboarding. I was kind of like a rebel, if you would call that. I guess that's my background. An individual, I don't even know if you call it an extreme sport. So I had a lot of friends that did that. That was like my interest at the time. And yeah, I loved that. I mean, I felt like I could express myself in that way, and I didn't feel like there was any confinement. I didn't feel like I had to be a part of something. It was just a lot of freedom, and that was just my way of having fun. Kind of going back to where the skateboarding and where I was brought up, kind of the individual sport aspect. Bodybuilding is technically an individual sport. This started a long time ago, even when I was in high school. I had a friend named Nick. He was jacked, but he got me into bodybuilding, long story short. We didn't have all the resources we have now, so he was basically someone that I would always ask questions, and he would kind of show us how to work out. When I say us, we had other friends too, but teach us just certain movements, supplements. I had no idea what creatine was, but Nick knew. I remember watching on YouTube, I came across this channel, his name's Stephen Cow. He's actually a current bodybuilder. I just remember watching his transformation and his journey, and it was very inspiring. And I just would see how he went from just training with his friends and then eventually got his pro card, and then he went pro. And I remember following his diet. And I remember his coach, and he still has the same coach, but Coach Ariel Cuts would do his diet. So I would follow his diet, and that's how I got into shape. So that was kind of the foreshadowing of where we are now. So I first met Bobby at 24 Hour Fitness. This is maybe around 2019. Like, I knew who he was. I'm like, oh, that's IFBB Pro. Like, that's Bobby. He's a coach, and he trains like, athletes. And he just came up to me one day. He said, hey, you ever thought about competing? And in my mind, I really had no desire or aspirations to compete. I said, no, not really. I didn't really have an interest for it. Time goes by. Obviously he said, let me know if you ever think about it, or if you ever consider it, let me know, and I'll take care of you. I'll get you, what you need. This is 2023. Obviously Bobby and I were still good friends, and we still kept in contact. Still didn't tell him I wanted to compete, and was never, a question or on the table. But I went to my first bodybuilding show. So we had gone to support Anthony and those guys. That's all it took. I mean, I just watched them step on stage, and I thought, you know what? I could probably do that. I could see myself doing that. After that show, that's when I came up to Bobby and said, I think I want to compete. So my first show, it was an interesting one for sure. I mean, it was definitely exciting. I don't remember getting nervous. I think a lot of people get stage fright and they get nervous during their first show, but I felt prepared to the point where I felt like whatever happens, happens. I didn't have high expectations. I didn't have the thought of, okay, if you lose, like, it's, this is like the end of everything. No, I never had any of those thoughts. I just wanted to just experience it and just feel what that was like to step on stage. For that moment, yeah, I think it was all worth it for sure. After my first show, the goal to get the pro card was right before I went to my first national show, which was in New Jersey. I saw the look getting better, and I could see like the potential and like the quality of going pro become more realistic. Of course, my experience at my first national show, it was very humbling. Well, the first national show taught me that there's definitely levels to becoming a pro, not just physically, but mentally. You have to be able to accept defeat and some losses in your life, but also knowing that there's just going to be other guys out there that just have done this more times than you, and it's not their first rodeo. For me, it was my first rodeo, but you just have to experience it for yourself, and you're not always going to win things on the first try. Definitely a lot of sacrifice for sure, and you're going to be suffering to a certain extent, but you got to be willing to do that. So I think the part that people don't see about when you commit to a prep, you are giving up pretty much everything. I guess, not to be too dramatic, you're just gonna have to say no to certain things. Your birthday's out of the, my birthday's in February, prep starts very early, so your birthday celebration won't be happening. I mean, you can celebrate, you're just not gonna be eating probably what you really want. Holidays, things like that, depending on where prep is, and I'm just speaking from experience, most people don't get to enjoy these things. It's always gonna be put on the back burner. So spending time with your family and all that, like, it's fine, you're just not gonna be able to indulge in food. So having a very strong mindset, fighting urges, right? You're gonna have cravings, that takes a certain discipline. And obviously the goal is a pro card for whoever wants it, but you're gonna have temptation along the way. So last month, that was my second national show. That was a totally different outcome. I felt somewhat pressure, not a ton of like expectation, but I just had that feeling, like I knew I was prepared for it, and I knew that I just had a feeling like deep down inside, like I knew I was gonna get it. Holding that card after everything we went through, the entire prep, it meant that you belonged. It meant that you definitely had the vision and the goal of achieving something, not just by myself, obviously with the help of my girlfriend and Bobby, and good a supportive gym, the community, just my family, everyone that just believed in me. It was for us. For anyone that has goals or aspirations to compete in bodybuilding, I would say definitely use your resources. I think from where I came from till now, I mean, this was years. I mean, I didn't even think about bodybuilding back then, but there's a lot of resources now. I would literally take someone's diet that I saw from YouTube, and I wasn't even able to ask them questions like, hey, like, what about this? Or like, when would you change this? Or, kind of modify things. Take advantage of that. There's a lot of knowledgeable folks, trainers, coaches, whether it's in person or online. I always say, never be afraid to ask questions and reach out, because most people are definitely willing to help out.